1,
2,
3,
4.
Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster.
Movie.
Fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honeybee.
Fun time, go!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and neighbors, welcome to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. I am one of your hosts, Precious D.
And I am the other one of your hosts, Honeybee.
Honeybee and I are two best friends making our way through the history of kaiju movies. We started in 1933 with King Kong, and now we are at 2010 with Monsters. Not Monster.
Wah, wah, wah.
Monsters. This is the good one, or the better one anyway.
Yeah.
Before we get in the movie, though, I just want to share something amusing I just saw on Twitter.
Okay.
The movie Wicked is coming out soon, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, of course, there are Barbie dolls based on the Wicked characters. And on the back of the box, in all the fine print and the copyright notices, there's a website. www.wicked.com. That is not the correct website. It should be wickedmovie.com, because wicked.com is a pre-existing website, and I'll give you one guess what sort of content it has.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Now, fortunately, because I'm like, well, I got to type this in. I got to see what this is. Wicked.com is a pornographic website, but fortunately, it is a paid pornographic site. So the landing page just has some pictures of some ladies, but they're not nude, and it's showing you the price plans, the subscription plans.
Are the ladies
if some kid,
green?
No, they are not. Not now. Maybe they will be. No, because they don't want to trick, because they could get in big trouble. They do not want to trick children into. It's not their fault. So they do not want to entice children into coming into their website.
My
But
God.
yes, you are not immediately shown graphic images when you go there, and some kid is not going to be able, unless they've stolen a credit card, is not going to be able to access the site right away. But that is very unfortunate. And I have a feeling those packages are about to become collector's items, because they're either going to get recalled, or just on the second run, that's going to get corrected. So maybe I need to run out to Target and grab a Wicked Barbie.
You have to get Elphaba, because she's green and it's really cute. I did see the Barbies, but I did not look at the back of the box.
Yeah, I wouldn't have realized this. I probably wouldn't have even noticed it. It was just, it was on Twitter.
Hopefully no one does. Hopefully they just open the box and throw the box away.
Yeah.
God.
Like I said, it is in very small print at the bottom, where the price and all that stuff is.
It's a small print, but that's kind of a big fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. Maybe we'll discuss Wicked later. I've never seen it. I've never listened to the whole thing. I haven't read the book.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding me?
Well, here's the thing. Oz is kind of one of my things. I've read maybe 12 of the original 14 books, and I own several that I haven't read. And I have 3 or 4 different Oz-based role-playing games. And one of my favorite black and white independent comic books from the 80s was a thing called Oz Squad. So when the book Wicked first came out, I started reading it, I did not get very far before I was like, well, I don't care for this. This seems based more on the movie than the books, and I don't need a sequel is fine, but a reimagining, I don't know. I don't want to hear it. I'm not interested. I didn't care. I never finished the book. I'll watch the movie when it's on HBO or whatever, but I'm not paying money to go see it.
Damn.
It looks very well made, and I'm sure everybody in it does a good job. But I just think I don't need your lots of reinterpretations of Oz over the years. I have not cared for. It's one thing to write a sequel. There were, after the first 14 books, there were, officially licensed sequels approved by the estate, added on to, the stories, but they weren't going back and reimagining it. And I tend to not care for these reimaginings.
Well, I will say that Wicked slapped me in the face as a teenager. Just the soundtrack, because, there wasn't a movie, but like the soundtrack from Broadway. So I knew the entire soundtrack, every fucking word. I listened to it like on repeat until when I was in KC, we went to New York and we saw Wicked on Broadway, and it was incredible. It was so good. And of course, I already was kind of in love with the music, so actually getting to see the story and seeing it on Broadway, which was like a bucket list thing for me at the time. And also, one of the actors broke his ankle on stage, and like a swing actor had to like come out and like be his part, and we didn't even notice. But we had got this like package where we got to like meet some actors afterwards and like do a little acting workshop, and with some of the cast members, not like the big cast members, obviously it was like chorus members, but they like told us that this had happened, and we were like, no way. Like, we were just so amazed that there were these actors backstage just waiting to get into costume and be who the fuck ever. It was just such a cool experience for me. So I kind of have, a little bit of a soft spot for Wicked. But I did recently buy just the Wizard of Oz book from half price. No, not half price. From Five Below. It was in a Peter Pan and the Wizard of Oz combo.
Oh.
So I bought that for $5. I read Peter Pan, and I'm going to read The Wizard of Oz, but I have never read the book. I have only seen, the movie, and then seen Wicked on Broadway. So I'm really excited for the movie.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's bad or that it's going to be bad. It's just it's not what I want. But let me, definitely let me know after you've read the original book, because it's not the MGM movie. And of course, neither's Wicked. At least in Wicked, it's not all a fucking dream. So
Right. Right. I did try to read the book, but I didn't get through it either. And I honestly don't remember why. I think it was like, kind of like when you read the Bible and it's like, so-and-so is so-and-so son of so-and-so son of so-and-so son. And it's like, I want the story. I don't really care about the politics. So, but I don't remember why I didn't finish it. I think maybe I was a little bit too young for it to like catch my attention really, but I would like to try to read it again. I still own it, so I'll probably read it at some point, but.
Okay. Well, let's get to this movie, Monsters. As we said, it's from 2010. It's 94 minutes. The country is listed as United Kingdom, so I guess it's a UK production. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's where it's actually filmed. It takes place in Mexico, and the actors are at least playing Americans, but maybe the director, maybe? I don't know. I don't care. I'm not gonna read this whole Wikipedia article just to figure it out. But it premiered at South by Southwest, and within hours, Magnet Releasing signed the rights to distribute it in North America.
Oh God, how disappointing! There
is a sequel. What's disappointing?
This that someone liked it that much.
Oh, there's a sequel, Monsters Dark Continent, which is like set in the same world, I guess. But I've seen it, but I don't remember anything about it. We'll get to it. It came out in 2015. The budget was $500,000, and the box office was $4.24 million. So Not
What
huge, but definitely
the
more than 500,000.
hell? That is crazy.
I think it showed up on Netflix pretty quickly, so they, I'm sure they made plenty of money on the streaming. And the cast, Wikipedia just lists the two main people. Scott McNairy as Andrew Calder and Whitney Abel as Samantha Winden. Well, Honeybee, what are your initial thoughts on Monsters from 2010?
Honestly, I hate to say it, but I fucking hated this movie.
Wow.
I hated it.
I think I know what you mean, but go ahead.
It's just like it's just too much people shit, and it's too much people shit that doesn't make sense, and I don't care about it. Like, I don't know how many notes I have that are just like, I don't care. And it's like, the people, both of them, I don't like either one of these people. They both kind of suck. I will say Sam's haircut is like everything 2010, and I do love it, but it's the only nice thing I really have to say about her. I don't really get it. I don't get it. I don't get why. I just don't get it. I'm sorry. I really don't like this movie. It was so boring, and nothing ever made sense. I will say the only good thing about this movie for me were the kaiju, who we got to see for a collective 7 seconds. And that pisses me off. So I really just do not like this movie.
So I really liked it when I first saw it back in 2010. Mm-hmm. I did not like it as much this time around.
Yeah, maybe if I had seen it in 2010, I would have been like, oh my God, this is so cool. But I did not like it now.
I think partly it's just in comparison to, everything else we've been watching and the whole history of things. Although, so I think part of why maybe it was so successful at the time is because it was a very different kind of kaiju movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, it was sort of a small, independent, relatively quiet thing, not just huge buildings getting knocked over. And it did just focus on these two people rather than huge crowds running through the street. It was doing some things that we hadn't really seen before.
Yeah.
And in a setting that we hadn't seen before. Mm-hmm. And doing some maybe different interesting things as far as sort of ecological message of, because it's not just these big monsters, the whole area has been infected by this alien form of life.
Mm-hmm.
But so I think a lot of the popularity was just that it was something different, something American but set in Mexico. The general quality of it, not looking like cheesy and cheap, even though it's only $500,000. Everything in it looks really good. But it comes down to, this is really a movie about a couple of stupid assholes. And this second time around, I was much more focused on, because I knew we weren't really going to see. I already knew we didn't really get a good glimpse of the kaiju till the gas station. And so I was much more focused on what the two dumb assholes were doing.
Yeah, but they're so boring. They both suck so bad. And
in the end, Sam would have been better off by herself. She would have gotten home quicker if her father had not sent that dummy to help her.
Yeah, well, he barely even sent that dummy. He sent another dummy who sent that dummy, basically. Yeah. It's just it's very boring, and I just I always am worried when we see a kaiju in the very beginning of the movie, and then within the first, the timestamp is 2 minutes and 14 seconds or something, we get this kaiju moment, and that always is a red flag for me, because I'm like, shit, if there isn't build up to the kaiju, then usually we're seeing the best thing, and then the rest of the movie just kind of is shit and falls apart, and that's kind of how I felt about this movie. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. And this was actually And in this case, it was, well, yeah, I mean, we're going to show it to you right away, and then you won't see it again for a long time. And this was actually a teaser, because what we see at the beginning hasn't already happened. We see it again from another angle at the end of the movie. Those same
Which takes
soldiers.
Way too long to get to.
Yeah. Well, let's get into our plot here from Wikipedia.
Right.
Thank you, Wikipedia.
I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna try not to read every single note that I have because they're so negative.
After a NASA space probe sent to verify the existence of extraterrestrial life in the solar system crash lands in Mexico, extraterrestrial life forms spread throughout the Mexico-United States border region, leading to the quarantine of the north half of Mexico. U.S. and Mexican troops battle to contain the creatures, and a huge wall stretching along the border ostensibly keeps the U.S. protected. This I did find interesting. It's sort of a little bit of a political statement in that we've inflicted this problem on Mexico. This was a United States space probe that crashed in Mexico. And now Mexico has this problem because of something we've done. And then we build a big wall to keep it out of our country. And yeah, we send some help to deal with it. But, you know.
Yeah, but the help that we sent only, we find out later, only makes it worse. Because there's a moment where a guy's like, oh, like she's like, do you feel safe here? And he's like, oh, you know, if you don't mess with them, they don't mess with you. The only time they really attack is when the fucking United States comes over here bombing shit. That's really the only time they attack. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. Yeah. So really, not the help, quote unquote, that America sends is also, you know, shit. So
yeah. Also, if the problem is that extraterrestrial life is infecting the whole forest, then this wall's not going to keep it out. It might keep out the big monsters temporarily, but the life forms, you know, it's going to spread through the air or the water, or it's just going to slowly climb up the wall like ivy, you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna help. American photojournalist Andrew Calder receives a call from his employer, who tells Andrew to find his daughter Samantha Winden and escort her back to the U.S.
Only that's not true. It's actually a third-party person that we don't ever know or like anything. It's hey, you gotta find the boss's daughter.
Right. Well, he talks to the boss on the phone at one point. But yes, so he works for some newspaper, I guess, or a magazine. Yeah, magazine. He works for a magazine, and his editor, I guess, calls and says, hey, the owner of the magazine, I need you to go get the owner's daughter and escort her back. And of course, he doesn't want to do it. I'm down here trying to take pictures of shit. I don't have time for that stuff. Like, it's the owner's. I mean, of course, it's not in his job description, and it's a guy is abusing his power, but he does pay your salary, and maybe there'll be a bonus involved, and it doesn't hurt to have the boss owe you a favor. So
yeah, but he doesn't even send him money. Like, he has to use his own money for everything, which is another thing. Yeah, like, if this guy is so big and bad and he's your boss and you're so, like, you respect him so much, why the fuck isn't he, like, giving you money to do this? Like, why are you having
Western
to use your
Union
own
still
money?
exists. Yeah, he could have. Yeah. He should have wired him. Yeah, when they were having to bribe people and stuff, he should have been able to wire him some money, and he shouldn't have had to negotiate. But we'll get to that in a second. So he locates Samantha in a Central American hospital, and the pair board a train. Central America? Were they not in Mexico? I think they were in Mexico.
Yeah, they're in Mexico.
Until learning the tracks ahead have been damaged. They discover that if they do not leave the country within a few days, sea and air travel will be blocked for 6 months. Andrew and Samantha decide to hitchhike their way to the coast.
Okay, before this happens, we get this, like, moment where Sam is on the phone with her dad, and her dad's like, You know, first of all, I'm so glad we never met her dad in person because his acting on the phone was garbage.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I can really tell that you care, Dad. But he's like, did you call John? He's your fiance.
Yeah.
You need to call him. So we get this like moment, right? But I literally, my note was like, man, I wonder if we'll see this guy in the film because I wonder if he's going to suck as bad in person. Super glad we didn't.
And he didn't sound old enough to be her father either.
Yeah.
I feel like it was maybe just the director recording it on the phone or whatever. Or the cameraman or something.
Yes, and when they get on the train, it just like pissed me off because they're like, hey, there's a problem up ahead. Like, we're going to turn around. And he's like, we need to keep going. Like, get off the train. We're going to walk. Like, you're going to walk? You don't even know where the fuck you are.
Yeah.
Like, oh gosh. Anyways.
So, but part of the thing, so Samantha is also a little bit of an asshole. It's not as immediately obvious.
She's a big one.
Huh? Yeah.
She's a big asshole.
It's not as immediately obvious, but apparently what has happened is she is engaged to John and is having second thoughts. So has decided to take a trip by herself to think things over, to get her head straight, to figure out what she wants to do. And decides to go down to monster-infected Mexico to do this.
I feel like she never actually said why she was there. Like, he asks her several times throughout the movie, and she just, like, dodges the question every time and never really says, like, what she does for work or why she's there or, like, really anything about her, which is fucking annoying.
This is all just implied. She never comes out and says anything, but it's just implied by her behavior, by the way she looks at her engagement ring, by the fact that she hasn't called John. Was she hurt in a monster attack? Why does he have to go get her?
Yeah, I guess she was hurt.
And
she has some sort of like bandage over her arm, like some sort of like brace in the beginning. But like, we really have no idea. It just kind of. But it seems like she's just kind of there.
It seems like she just kind of has a little bit of a sprain or a strain or something. She hasn't actually broken anything.
Yeah, and also she speaks Spanish.
Stated that she was in a monster attack. Yeah.
Yeah, she speaks Spanish, which was making me think that she was there for work, or like she was there for some sort of like job because she knows the language. Or maybe she. It's not.
Yeah. She might go there regularly. That may be why she went to Mexico to think things over, because she's there frequently or speaks Spanish or whatever. They don't make it clear, but it seems clear to me, but like I said, never explicitly stated, that she is not wanting to get married to John. She's changed her mind or is in the process of changing her mind, or she just needs to. She's having doubts, and that's why she's gone. But she's picked the worst possible place to go to think things over.
Yeah, it's very apparent that she doesn't want to get married. But that's also something that pissed me off, is when they get off the train and they do like the hitchhiking or whatever. Well, first, before they even do the hitchhiking, they like get off the train and then they find somewhere to spend the night, even though they only have like 2 days to get to the border. They're like, he's like, we gotta go, let's get off this train and sleep somewhere, which I was like, what the fuck? They like find this woman who's like great, super hospitable, and she asks, are y'all married? And Sam's like, me and him? No way. And I was like, oh, god damn it, they're gonna fall in love, aren't they? Like, they're gonna fucking, I could just tell in that moment, like, god damn it, no.
They're gonna fall in something.
Ugh, God.
So they decide to hitchhike their way to the coast. Andrew buys Samantha an expensive ferry ticket for the next morning, and then they proceed to act like a couple of fucking morons. After enjoying the local nightlife together, Andrew sleeps with a local woman who steals their passports. We only ever see this poor lady's feet and part of her leg.
And one hand. Yeah, and one hand.
They have to get up early in the morning to make absolutely sure that they catch this ferry. Let's go out drinking. No, go back to your hotel and just chill out and make sure you set 2 or 3 alarms. Make sure you have room service give you a wake-up call. No, they go out and get drunk. He gets really flirty with her, but she doesn't invite him in. And so he goes out and drinks more and hooks up with some local floozy.
Who robs him.
Who turns out to be a thief. So when she comes knocking on his door, even though she sent him on his own the night before, she comes knocking on his door the next morning and then gets all butthurt when she sees that he has slept with someone else. Which was kind of, I mean, who does that? I mean, people do that,
no,
but...
no,
Jesus.
Okay, though. Right, okay. So when they're out drinking, she has this moment. I just really hate these people, okay? But she's like, don't you kind of feel bad that you, like, need something bad to happen for you to profit? Because he, like is a photographer of, like, trauma and, like, destruction, right? And so she's like, don't you kind of feel bad that you need something bad to happen for you to profit? And he's like, what, you mean like a doctor? And I was like, oh, he told you, bitch.
Yeah.
And then he tells us that he gets paid $50,000 if he photographs a child killed by a creature, but if he photographs a happy child, he gets $0. And he's like, I don't cause, the tragedy. I just document it. And I'm like, why is she even judging him? She has never even told us what she did. Like, chill out, Jessica. Or wait, what's her name? Samantha. Chill out. Like,
Samantha.
why are you being all judgy when, like, he asked, what do you do? She didn't say fucking shit. And now she's, like, judging him.
It's her father who runs the magazine. And that's why she can afford to fuck around in Mexico. I'm not sure how much she was judging him, but just kind of like, have you ever thought about that? But yeah, I did like his counter. You mean like a doctor? Yeah. The doctor's.
Yeah, I was like, face,
system.
Bitch.
Yeah.
Keep your own nose in your own business. Anyways, and then we have this ferry situation, right? Where they're like haggling and the guy's like 5,000. He's like 2,000. He's like, no, 5,000. He's like 3,000. The guy's like, no, 5,000. Or you can go with the pores through the infected zone and not be safe. All of them are going through the infected zone. And that's how they're going to get to the other side. And you can go with them, or you can give me $5,000 and you can be safe, which is important later. This moment is very important later. That $5,000 is important because right now the man is selling it as you can go with them and it's really scary and you can get it's bad, or you can pay $5,000 and be safe. And this is where I'm like, why isn't daddy paying for her to get home? But whatever. So then they go out, they come back, and he's like, no, I think it's even before they go out. She's like, yeah, it's before they go out. She's like, I really need a shower. And he's like, do you want me to scrub your back? And I'm like, ew, what? I don't feel like they know each other or have had enough banter or like this kind of friendship to have this, conversation. And maybe the tequila conversation right before this where he's like 5 shots of tequila was supposed to like prepare us for the bath comment, but I did not feel like it did. And then when she goes into the bathroom, he calls his son and wishes him a happy birthday, but on the down low for whatever reason he lies to her about it. This guy is a piece of shit. Like, it's not so bad. We've definitely had worse pieces of shit, but I'm like, what is this? Like, why? This is not interesting to me. This is not fun. It just sucks. Like, these people just suck. And then they got elotes, and I was so jealous that they suck so bad, and they were eating that Mexican street corn, and I just had to sit here and watch it. Pissed.
I'm glad you brought up his son, though, because the story about his son seems inconsistent to me. I was very confused.
It's so confusing,
because
and that's the thing, is like he calls him and makes it a secret, but then later on it's not a secret. I don't know.
Well, but he tells her that he was with this girl for a couple of months and they had a really good time, and then they went their separate ways. And then he finds out, 2 years later, that he has a son, and she says, you can meet him. Yes, you're his dad, but you're not his father, or the other way around. Basically, yes, you are the sperm donor for this child, but I do not want you to be his father, to present yourself
Yeah.
as his father, or for him to know he can know you, but I don't want him to know that you are his father.
Which makes it like, okay, first of all, sure, that happens, but like it makes it weird that just now what, you're just a man calling this like 5-year-old kid?
Exactly.
Like, who are you then? His fucking uncle? Like, what?
Apparently, according to him, the child does not know that he's his father. But also, the child expects him to call him on his birthday and will be disappointed if he doesn't. So, how have they explained this relationship? What have they told this child? Oh, this is just my good friend, whatever the fuck his name is.
Andrew.
Andrew. This is Uncle Andrew. This is Cousin Andrew. This is just my friend Andrew who sends you presents and shit. And also, why it's not fair to anybody. I don't want to get into this, but I know somebody that did something like this to their child in real life. Did not want them to know who the father was for whatever reason. But that was bad and difficult for the child. And
and she
tell you
is
more about that off
remarried.
the air. Yeah. So does he think that the husband is his father, or does he know? Yeah, because at what age did they get? I don't know. It's just, but it's like, okay, how much of an asshole is Andrew that this is her reaction?
Exactly.
Because he says, he said we had a really good time, but there must have been something about him that caused them to break up, and something that made her say, I don't want him in this child's life.
But also I feel like...
What was it?
I feel like it could also be giving a little bit of like, I'm telling this girl this story because I want to fuck her, but it's not true. I have a family at home. I couldn't tell which one it was. I feel like it could go either fucking way, because he like talks about this, like, because the reason why is because in the beginning, like the first time he calls his son or nephew or whatever the fuck you want to call him, he lies about it. He does it really quietly. He hangs up before she comes back in the room. And then when she's like, who was that? He was like, oh, it was, someone from work or something. And I'm like, why is he lying about having a kid? And it seems like it's because he wants to fuck her. And like, then they go out, they have this like tequila night. So I'm like, oh, okay, he's lying about his kid. But then in a scene like 10 minutes in the future, she's like, so tell me, how old is your kid? And I'm like, wait, you know about that? Like, I thought it was a secret. Like, it's very confusing. I will say,
He
on
does
their
tell her
like,
at some point.
yeah, but like he does tell her like after that whole thing, like even after she asks, she's like, so how old is your son? And he's like, oh, he turned 6 yesterday or whatever. And then he tells her the story. But when they're drinking, totally different, change of subject here. That when they're out drinking, they come across this kind of like a memorial, I guess, like a wall of people, like with pictures of people who have died, maybe from creatures, but also maybe from the bombing. And there's like a very like moment, where we see like stop the bombing. We see all of these signs. We see a pile of bones, and it just says unknown dead, and it's like incredibly sad. And they kind of like have this moment that they could have made a real moment, but they're drunk and they suck, so they don't. We as the audience only have to see this moment as like, oh, like the bombing is like affecting this area in a really bad way, obviously, because it's fucking bombing. And, we get more of this story later of the bombing and like how it is affecting people. But really, this is kind of the first moment we see of like, oh shit, like the bombing is like, fucking taking innocent people out and children and all of this shit. And then he asks in this moment, are you a marine biologist? Because she still hasn't told us what she does. And then he's like, do you want me to come in and give you a massage? Do you want a nightcap? And then he's like, I had so much fun with you. Like, I had so much fun. It's so different when I'm with you. Is there a creature in there? Do you need me to, like, save you? And I'm like, this guy is fucking disgusting. I hate him. I hate this guy so much. And also, I was glad that she didn't let him in.
Yeah. Also, it's the boss's daughter. This is such a bad idea. He has tasked you with protecting her and getting her home safe. And that does not mean getting drunk, getting her drunk, and sleeping with her. That is a bad, bad, bad idea. If you're going to marry the boss's daughter, you got to slow roll that a little bit. You don't bang the boss's daughter. You marry the boss's daughter. That is a huge mistake for his career that he acts like he gives a shit about. But,
Ugh, annoying. Well, and then we also see that she calls John, assumably John, in the hotel room, and he doesn't answer, which I also thought was like, uh-oh, a little bit of trouble there. Maybe he's asleep because it's, probably 2 a.m. in the morning, but also,
this is still at a point
great.
where you can't just assume that everybody's got a cell phone in 2010. So it's possible that the phone's not right next to him, that he's doing some work shit or has gone somewhere or whatever. She's out getting drunk. Maybe he's out getting drunk. Who knows?
Well, and then, the next day when she's like, hey, you want to get a cup of coffee with me before I leave? And she sees the lady's feet, she runs away. And I'm like, bitch, what? Why are you upset about this? If you wanted this to happen, you should have said something last night. You didn't. He went and did whatever the fuck he wanted. That's none of your fucking business.
I mean,
it's none of your business. You don't even know this guy.
I sort of understand it, though, because this is our first... I'm not going to sleep with you after the first date. That doesn't mean I'm not interested at all. I'm just not the kind of girl who bangs on the first date.
Well,
which wasn't even really a formal date. Yes, that's true. She is engaged. So that shouldn't have even been an option because she's engaged. So yes, you're right. She has no right to get upset. But also what happens next is a little bit slightly her fault because he has her passport. Why he has her passport, I don't know. They should each have their own passport just in case of this kind of situation. But she gets upset and runs off. He chases her in his underwear and says something about, when he catches up with her, is like, well, okay, but why haven't you gotten on the ferry? She's like, I can't. You have my passport.
Oh,
and that's when he goes running back and realizes he has left his wallet and their passports with a stranger who has stolen them.
I don't care about none of this shit.
If she had just said, never mind about the coffee, I just need my passport. Or if he hadn't just, picked up a stranger in a strange city and left his valuables unattended in a hotel room with the door wide open, we don't even know for sure she stole them. He left the door wide open. She might have gotten up and walked off, and then somebody else came along and stole them. We don't know.
Yeah, and all of the time that they're acting like they've known each other for years and can't leave each other, I'm like, God, I really just don't care. And I why are they acting like they're such good friends, or he hurt her so bad because he fucked someone else? You don't even know each other. For fuck's sake. Ugh. Yeah. And then, okay, so the next thing is they have to haggle because they missed the ferry. Now the only other option they have is to go through the infected zone. And now this is where the $5,000 is important from earlier, because the guy is like, oh, you want to go the poor way? Well, it's $10,000. And I'm like, wait,
yesterday,
earlier it was the cheaper way. These people were going through the infected area because they didn't have $5,000 for the ferry. And today it's $10,000 because you have to get all of these. This movie is such a waste of fucking time. Everything up until this point has been such a waste of time because they still have to go through the infected zone. We could have skipped everything. We could have skipped the tequila night, the passport. We could have skipped all of it. They could have just gone in the infected zone. I'm like, oh God.
Well,
I'm just so annoyed with this movie.
It's supposed to be doing character work and making us care about them, but it's done the opposite. It's made us not like them.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've waited too long and now the price has gone up. But also he's just putting the squeeze on them because he, if some actual poor person had come to them, he might have charged them $100. He's putting the squeeze on them because he thinks they can afford it.
Which I guess she kind of does, because she gives her diamantes, her engagement ring,
yes,
to pay their
borrows her
way.
engagement ring. Also, engagement rings are shit. For the resale value is shit. Don't buy
It's
diamonds,
true.
people. Don't do it. Don't buy a diamond.
Don't
It's a
fucking
scam.
do it.
It's a scam.
I will say, however, once I had an engagement ring, and I did sell it to get gas money to move here. So, shout out.
But you didn't get anywhere near whoever paid for it, though, did you?
I don't fucking know, and I don't fucking care.
Oh, ouch. So let's see. But he needs it's going to cost this because I got to hire people. I got to bribe people. I got to hire people. They travel by riverboat until being transferred to a group of armed escorts who are to lead them overland towards the Mexico-U.S. border. So yeah, he's paid these guys to risk their lives. So that was kind of expensive.
Mm-hmm.
The convoy is attacked by the creatures. Andrew and Samantha escape, but none of the guards survive. None of the armed guards who are already familiar with the area survive.
Wait, pause. Did you see when they were getting on the boat? And they're like, the part where they're like, where are the other people? And like Juan, the guy, is like not coming. He's like, no, you can't afford me. Bye. Good luck. And then like it shows like the land and a random little hand. It looks like a kid maybe. A random hand comes out and waves goodbye. It's just a little hand. Did you see that?
No, I didn't notice that.
I was like, what the hell? It was very cute. Probably the best part of the movie. Anyways.
Oh, man. Pressing on, they discover the bodies of dead travelers and bond at the top of an ancient pyramid in the site of the U.S. border wall. Now, I thought all of this looked really great. Whatever CGI they were using, I mean, it's a very low budget, so I assume they just had to CGI a lot of stuff. But as I was watching the movie, I was like, well, it looks like they spent money in places here with some of the signage and the things that they had to be either specially built or CGI'd in to indicate the quarantine zones and stuff. I was like, oh, yeah. That looks real and it looks good. So,
it did look very good. We also have this moment before we get to the like ruins or the pyramids where the boat fucks up. And we get to see a little bit of a kaiju, take a jet underwater, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it's just not enough. Like, it's just not enough. It's like 2 whole seconds. But I will say that the, like, clickety of the creature, I really love that. Pretty much in any kind of scary movie, like kind of like A Quiet Place, you know, how they, like, click. Yeah. But we do get to see the tentacles, like, take the jet. And then right as that happens, the motor of the boat starts and they drive away. And I'm like... Damn it, I was really hoping we were going to get some sort of action there, but no.
Oh
my gosh, this is another thing that really pissed me off. When they get off the boat, Andrew is like, we can't go with those guys, they have guns. And I'm like, hey, shit for brains, did you know there are creatures roaming around killing people? Like, go with the guys with the fucking guns, you idiot. Oh, I hate this guy so much. He's like, what do you mean they have guns? Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. They're trying to protect you. You paid them to protect you.
Right. Maybe he thinks they're going to rob him, but they don't have anything to rob. They've already spent their money. The guys could just walk away. They've been paid. They could just walk away, but they're going to actually do the job they've been paid to do because presumably they want to get hired again.
And get killed for it, unfortunately.
Yes. Yeah. By the time they reach the border, the creatures have crossed into the United States. See?
We got to talk about also how we get to see the aliens in the trees. Like, we see them in the trees, and they look like little mushrooms that, like, light up.
Yeah. The fungus that have infected the trees.
Yes, which they kind of give us. Yeah, they kind of give us like a rundown of how they work. Of like, these are the eggs, and then they like grow really big, and then they go to the river, and then go to the ocean, and then they come back here to lay their eggs. And this is the moment where we get that like, they're actually pretty cool. They don't really fuck with you if you don't fuck with them, until America like brings the ships and pisses them off, and then they get mad. So it was cool though to see them in the trees. But what really pissed me off about this moment is Andrew's dumb ass touching them. Bro, It's called an infected area
Oh,
for
yeah.
a reason. You don't know shit about
Yeah.
it. Why are you touching them? God.
Yeah, it might infect you.
Yeah, like,
It might
hello?
attach itself to you. But they're really cool looking. They're bioluminescent. If you kind of touch them or blow on them or whatever, they'll light up. So I thought all of that
Yes.
looked really good.
It looks really good, but then we get this stupid moment of Andrew rebandaging her arm, saying sorry about the other night, and giving her kissy face and then kissing her hand. And I'm like, I wish a creature would just come and take a giant shit on this moment right now. Like, just a giant shit on this moment, because it is garbage.
Andrew and Samantha travel through a severely damaged evacuation town in Texas, find an abandoned gas station with power where they call the army for help. While waiting for help to arrive, they make phone calls to their families. A lone creature silently approaches the station. Hiding, Samantha observes several tentacles exploring the inside of the store, seemingly soaking up a television's light. It seems to like absorb electricity or something. Samantha quickly unplugs the television and the creature loses interest. Another creature appears and they communicate with one another and possibly mate via light impulses. I mean, they entwine their tentacles, which do light up. I don't think the light itself is how they're mating. The creature leaves as the military arrives. Samantha and Andrew kiss before they are rushed into different vehicles. The chronological ending takes place at the beginning of the film, filmed in green night vision sight, when the military rescue team is attacked by a creature on the way back to base. The bodies of Samantha and Andrew can be briefly seen lying in the street, presumably lifeless. I'm not sure I even realized that.
I also didn't realize that. I never saw that part. And I even waited all the way to the ends of the credit just to see what was going on. Okay, we gotta break this down because it's fucking stupid. If the creature is like sucking up electricity, why the whole gas station is like lit up? Why the TV inside? Secondly, they call their families. No, Andrew calls his son, ? And cries on the phone to a 6-year-old. And Samantha calls her the fiance, maybe, but the conversation goes shit. And then the creature sees the other creature. They do maybe some mating, maybe a cool handshake. I don't know. But it is the best part of the movie. This whole 3 seconds of these two creatures just handshaking it up, mating. Who knows what they're doing? Who fucking cares? And then they kiss while the army pulls up. They're like, we got a man and we got a woman here. And then they pull them away from each other. And then it's like blackout credits. And I'm like, that's how it fucking ended. And why the fuck are you kissing this man? I am disgusted. I'm disgusted. And she says, before she kisses him, she says, I don't want to go home. Like, bitch, get the fuck out of here. Get away from me. We just did all of this shit to get you home. Yeah, like we just did all of this shit to get you home. So go home and deal with your life. God.
Yeah. If you're going to break up with John, go do it. And then you can call Andrew if you want. But no, let's just live in this gas station.
Boo. Tomato, tomato.
It may be that if we go back and watch the beginning, that might be where we see their bodies. And actually in the beginning of the movie, rather than in this final scene. So maybe I'll do that
right.
Later.
Yeah, because at the beginning of the movie, we do
what they're telling us.
Yes, we see.
We just don't realize who they
at
are.
The beginning. Yes, because I remember at the beginning seeing a woman like being kind of like they're like shaking her, like kind of drag her. And I'm like, who the fuck? Like, that's random that she's like not in military uniform and stuff, but maybe it is her. Good. I'm so glad. Thank God they just ended it all, because that was miserable. Their lives were miserable. They were miserable. I was miserable watching them. Fuck this movie.
I mean, that's one way to break off your engagement.
Ugh. Yeah. She would too. She would take the easy way out because she's not good at communicating. She never like tells Andrew what she does or why she's there or fucking anything. So she probably did just like, maybe I'll take the creature instead. Well, fucking la-dee-da, Sam. Get out of here. Both of you. I hate you. tomato, tomato, tomato.
Okay, so did I hear you say you're giving it 1 star?
1 star, and that's being nice.
Okay. I'm going to be a little kinder. I'm going to give it 3 because I do think it is well made. I just not sure that it's well
I'll agree with
written.
that. I agree that it's well made. It looks great.
I don't think it's that well written in that they failed to make us like these characters. Although the first time I saw it, I don't remember hating them so much. Although I do think I remember being annoyed at the guy just picking up some rando on the street and then losing his wallet and passport to them. But I think the effects are all very well done. It's well shot. It's well acted. They're just stuck acting a couple of assholes. But they, everybody does a good job in their performances. It's definitely better than Monster from the goddamn asylum.
Definitely better.
So I will
definitely better.
I will give it 3 stars. It was okay. If you do want to watch it, I believe it is streaming on all the things. It's on Peacock and Prime and Tubi and Zumo and Sling and Fandango at Home and Plex and Freevee.
But I will say this is only if you like a lot of people shit, because there's, like I said, collectively 7 seconds of kaiju in it.
Yep. There you go. So that is going to wrap it up for today, folks. Next week's movie is Troll Hunter, also from 2010, also distributed by Magnet, I believe. And that one you can see on Max. Otherwise, you'll have to rent or buy it. It is available on all the things, but not for free. But if you have a HBO Max subscription, you can watch it on there. So,
nice.
There you go, folks. That'll do it for this week. Until next week. I have been Precious D.
And I have been Honey Bee.
Remember to keep calm and take shelter in basements.
And please, don't misuse science.
You won't. No. We won't see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go. You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please consider rating and reviewing us on your podcasting platform of choice. You can leave us a message and find links to all our things at mmftg.com.